Hello, everyone. How are you today? I have my beautiful client, Amanda Miller, with me. Amanda, introduce yourself, tell everyone a little bit about you, and then we'll get into it.
Oh, goodness. I am a broker associate and agent based out of Central California. My background is in retail, all things executive, so focused around training and development. I've been in the real estate space for about 8 years now, and I pride myself on education, advocacy for everyone that I talk to, and business building. Entrepreneurship is just in my heart and soul.
It is literally, and you're an amazing leader, speaker, soon to be author, all the things. Doing big
All the
things,
things.
all the
We're
things.
trying. We're trying.
You're doing it. So I'd love for you to share with everyone what was going. So when we met, your business was successful. You weren't like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart.
Right.
Like to the outside world, you look like you were in a really good place. Share with everyone a little bit was what was going on behind the scenes, maybe emotionally, mentally, how you were feeling.
Yeah, it was interesting because when we met, you were asked to be on a group call that we facilitated for a mastermind that we do for our agents. And I felt like the universe definitely stepped in and decided that I needed to meet you. Yes, my business was growing. I was rounding out my best year in business so far. And I should have been in a place where I was feeling celebratory and excited. And instead I was kind of freaking out on the inside. I was trying to figure out what's next, where I needed to go next. I was feeling a little burnt out. I also was trying to figure out how to reshape my business, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. I will say personally, I was feeling very tired. I was feeling a little lack of motivation. I had taken a step back from being like a public speaker and a leader and a trainer and really focused on just the next deal, right? Like, how do I build incremental volume over time? And it was just exhausting. And when we met, I feel like the light bulb kind of went off for possibility.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. So that was a fast break Friday training. Was there
It
some,
was.
was there something I said during that training where you were like, oof, we need to talk? I know it's in December, so it's kind of
I
wild.
know it was, gosh, I feel it was a lifetime ago. And I honestly feel like it was my lifetime ago because in the last 6 months, like I was just sharing with you, there's so much that's
Yeah.
changed, like that I could actually verbalize and articulate in terms of who I am and how I feel. And I would say I related immediately to your energy as a strong, passionate, articulate, like no BS type coach. Like I immediately gravitated right to your style. And um, I I think that there's times in our lives where we automatically connect with human beings, right? So that happened just based on how you were speaking. But on the flip side, I don't know, like I'm a tough person to coach, right? I say I'm coachable, but somebody needs to be willing to hold me accountable. And in the way that you described things, I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, that's me. And I in personality alone and energy match, I was like, I feel like this woman could literally say, like, stop, no, that's not it, right? And keep me in check. Yeah.
Oh, okay, beautiful. And also, Amanda and I have the same birthday and the same dog. So universe was like, "Hi, let's go."
Literally the same birthday, not
Yeah,
birth month,
yeah,
birthday.
birthday and the same dog. So crazy things. When we first met, we had a lot of conversations, and you and I relate on this, your relationship to pressure, pushing, proving, really strong hustle. Give people a little bit of background on how you were operating, prior to this coaching and how you're feeling now, because I know so many people, not just women, so many people are going to relate to this.
Yeah. So those of us who are high achievers are high achievers for a reason, right? We usually were built to either survive or push to perform. And the pushing to perform, in my opinion, typically is either to, well, not either. I think it's typically to prove someone or something wrong,
Yeah.
right? So whether that's your own mindset or the other people who you think maybe doubted you along the way. And when I think about how I was performing and who I've been, a lot of it had come from layered in desire to be better and next and seen and validated. And over time, I definitely had learned that I was defining my worth and who I was and how I felt on the opinions, values, and results of others. And so success in general, I allowed to be defined by a result, by a number, by somebody else's version of what looked good or was good. Yes. Instead of just saying like, hey, self, what do you want? What would feel good? Like what does success actually look like to you, and not allowing myself to do any of that. So that high achiever had to get to a place where I was able to take a step back and maybe unravel some of those things, right?
And as we did, and when we first started this conversation, you said I was tired. I felt burnt out. There was this other piece of me that I wasn't wanting to do, the leader, the trainer. You had pushed all that aside because you got so focused on the productivity, the productivity. And
Right.
often as high achievers, we think productivity is our edge.
Yep.
Your edge is fulfillment, happiness, joy, what you're giving to the world. That may sound corny, like cliche to some people watching, but that's the truth of it. And if you want to build a sustainable business that brings you joy, you better start focusing on your real edge, which isn't productivity. Yes, we're all very productive as high achievers. We know that, but what's beneath that? Right.
Exactly. I think you had said to me, and there were the two things that stand out that I say to myself on repeat whenever I'm feeling a little jittery in my body, right, in my life, are one, to stand on my personal power, and that my power does not come from the validation of others, that my power is owned in my body and in me, right? And then the other one, the mantra that I will probably say for the rest of my life, especially when life gets a little chaotic, is I am safe when I am still. And movement, distraction, and filling your days with other things, it's not fulfilling. And if we could easily call it productive, and we could call it progressive, or we could put all these labels on it, but at the end of the day, it's just a distraction from. Exactly. You're just layering in and adding on one more thing to worry about or think about or force, and being able to take a step back and say, like, I am safe when I am still.
I hope you the rest of your life.
Oh, I say it daily, like several times a day, right? It's like, and it's almost a moment of saying, when your day's kind of crazy, like even in just a regular day, and things happen beyond your control, and they're gonna happen. That's called life, right? Yeah. So taking a deep breath and actually being able to just like calm and not try to force the solution or go chase something else, or allow anger or frustration to take hold, and then it spiral you into more unreasonable work. Just saying, you know what, like, we're good. Like, I'm good.
I think more people who are listening to this need to adapt that mantra.
Yeah. So, I am safe when I am still.
I'm safe when I'm still. Say it with us. But really, what happens to us as high achievers, high producers, our bodies don't feel safe slowing down because they're so used to the overextension, the overwhelm, the overdoing, the over pushing, that when we finally do slow down initially for you, it felt weird. You're like, how long am I going to do this mantra until it starts working? I'm like, it's going to take a little while, right? Because your body is used to go, go, go. Your nervous system is used to living in fight or flight. So it takes a little bit of time. But then once you do it, and then you can see the effect in your business, actually growing more, actually closing some of your biggest commissions ever, actually getting some speaking engagements, getting a new leadership position. You can share all these wins in a moment here, but you did that by actually once again, by just slowing down a little bit.
Yes.
Be more intentional with your time, not having to fill the time with every little space.
Exactly.
Not fill the space with something all the time.
Exactly. It's crazy to look at the last 6 months. I mean, I can share, I just sent you a voice message last week, and I had actually become emotional, right? And had gotten a little teary. And I said the words out loud as to actually feeling very proud of where I was. And it wasn't about, yes, I've closed the biggest deal I've ever done. My business is flourishing and growing, and opportunities are opening up, and things just feel like they're, for lack of a better term, going my way, right?
Yeah,
and exactly, everything feels aligned, and it does feel really good. But it was more about feeling proud that I felt confident, clear, and calm. And those three words have become very, very important to me, right? And so accomplishment now for me is starting to become, by no means is the work done. We'll be saying the mantras every day. And I know that, we have to revisit things on repeat. I mean, you use the analogy of working out, right? And saying, it's like, how often do I have to do this? Well, every day for maintenance is probably how you need to do this. Like your heart won't stay healthy if you're not going to keep walking, right? Like your mind's not going to stay sharp if you don't keep reading and feeding it. So same types of things. But in my current state, I am now defining success as a feeling of clarity, as a feeling of confidence, as a feeling of calm, instead of defining it by how many transactions I've closed, how many stages I've taken, how many conversations I had today, how much money is in my bank account. And doing that, like that moment hit me, and I became really emotional because it was almost like I equate it to the biggest exhale when you've been holding your breath for so long. And it just felt like a huge exhaling and a giant inhaling of like, wow.
It's a huge shift from where you were
it's
entire life.
It's like night and day, night and day.
And also it's practicing this over and over, so yes, a man and I have been working together for 6 months, but this will be the work for the rest of our life. Because when you are built a certain way as a high achiever, that doesn't go away. You still want the transactions, you still want to make money, you still want the numbers, but doing it from a more grounded place makes the world of a difference. And we talked a little bit about our coaching call before, thanking that old version of you, and making peace with her and honoring her instead of shaming her and be like, I can't believe she did that. And talk a little bit about that, because that's
in part of our work together, we've revisited. Let's put it this way. You've asked some really tough questions, right? And in the beginning of our dialogue together, my initial response to things typically would be, I don't know, or I think. And I didn't really have the ability to articulate or channel or become in tune with what I actually was feeling in a moment, or what would have led me to feel a way or define something. Like I couldn't even wrap my mind around that, right? And in some of the activities or coachings that we've done together, some of my homework per se, love homework, is really I know is really meeting with where the root of that has come from. So for example, I'm going to use money as the example, right? About, a relationship with needing to hold on to that for safety. And I know obviously you validated me by indicating that that's common and that it can be a cause of anxiety and just like needing to hold on. And so revisiting where some of those fears have come from and some of the things that were maybe shared with me as a child, or how I grew up, or how I lived, and some of the ways that I had to deal with things, or some challenges in my life that I had to face. And the word that kept coming back was shame. And that I was ashamed of how I behaved, or who I was in that moment. And while no, I didn't do anything devastating in my life, it was very difficult to put myself back in those shoes and say, wow, I was that person. And being able to, instead of just being ashamed or frustrated with who I was at that moment, instead forgiving or thanking that person, because ultimately, one, I was there for a reason, right? Based on whatever circumstances, and I didn't have the tools to not be. And ultimately I would not be right here without ever being that person. Right. And I do think that we as human beings, and again, particularly as high achievers who are like, I want to be the best. I have to be the best. Heaven forbid we have a flaw. Heaven forbid we make an error, because we think the world has big expectations of us, but honestly, we've created all of them. Right. Like we've created all of those expectations. Exactly. So all of those activities in saying I need to meet different versions of myself to essentially be reminded as to where I was in that time period, and identify, thank, and then move on.
Yeah. And that's something really powerful that people need to remember. It's going back to the root. And whether that's looking at, when I used to be a weight loss coach, well, let's get to the root of it, because it's not just your eating, it's your thought patterns, right?
Right.
Root of where your relationship from money comes from. You're not just hoarding it because you want to hoard it. That came from something your parents said, or something that their parents said to them, right? Generational trauma. So this is what I love doing, because it allows us to go deeper, and then it's so freeing for you guys. It's not easy. It's not easy to revisit that piece, those pieces of you, but it's very freeing once you get to the root and then you
Yeah.
work.
No, it's crazy. I'll say, I mean, you know, but anybody else listening to this needs to know. So 90 days into our conversations, I was inspired and decided to put my pen to paper, right? And to tell my story. And again, I am not a phoenix. I didn't rise from some crazy pile of ashes. I didn't have some giant tragedy or trauma like big as others would define it in the world. And I know there's a lot of big stories that do that. Mine is not that. But I will say the ability to look back on your life and really identify why you are who you are and why you are how you are, and then decide and be able to think through, do I have a choice in that, right? Like, I don't have a choice in the fact that I am 5'10". I don't have a choice in the fact that I was born an Aries. Like,
Right.
sorry about it. I don't have a choice in all of those things, but I do have a choice in deciding what I faced and what quote unquote shaped me and what I'm willing to hold on to and what I'm willing to let go of. And that activity has allowed me to face a lot of things, right? So our conversation opened up a door for me to say, wow, I am identifying different chapters, if you will, of my life that have shaped who I've become. And in some of those shaping are pieces that I've had to let go of or that I still continue to work toward letting go of.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, I mean, so many revelations and so many doors have opened. I mean, I feel we've worked together for a short time, but it feels like a lifetime. I
It
guess
feels like a
there's like
long
yeah,
time.
when there's like a soul connection, that's
Yeah.
it's been beautiful for me to witness because I think we see a lot of our like you me, you see you me, whatever however I want to say that. But yeah, I think it's so beautiful. So so many amazing things. Is there anything else you want to share? You've had just so many amazing wins. I actually want to share something before you do. I think one of the funniest things you ever said to me was, so how long do I have to do these like healing nervous system exercises, Coach Ange? And I just replied, how often do you need to work out? Right?
Every day for the rest of your life.
Right? Almost every day, right? So it's like
Almost every day.
if you're listening, it's like, if you're new to this world of identity work or nervous system work, you're like, I don't even know where to start. You start small, but it is something, we are our own greatest assets and we continue to work on ourselves. Just like you're not just your business, sure, parts of it can run without you, but you continue to work on it and grow. So just like your body, your brain, same thing. So I thought
Yeah.
that was funny and cute when he said that.
So funny. I'm like, how long? You're like, forever. You're not winning this race. There is no race.
No top, okay? There's no top. You just say,
I'm like, when do I win? When do I get it done?
"When do I
See,
get
you
my
can't
prize?"
you can't get rid of the high achiever altogether.
Yeah.
No, I will say I agree with you. I definitely feel like we've been working together for like it's crazy. It feels like so long. And mind you, like we're talking all the time. So I think that adds to it because there's a layer of complexity of a relationship that's been built. But beyond that, I would say I'm both delighted and quite surprised at what has shifted in me in this amount of time. But even in that amount of time, there were also time periods where I doubted myself. I'm pretty sure I went dark for like 7 to 10 days where I literally said nothing. I became very emotional. I had to grieve different parts of my thoughts, my past, who I thought I was, who I am, and you referred to it as the messy middle. I think some of my biggest key takeaways, obviously beyond, it's funny because somebody would have asked me like, what are your mantras? And I would have said, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not woo woo. Like, I'm not right. And now I'm like, I am safe when I am still.
Bring our reality. I mean,
I know. Well, it's just being able to repeat things like we are what we think, right? We are what
are
we
what we think.
consume. Like that
Good.
is just the way of the world. And being able to one have someone as a high achiever, which again, it's not supposed to be about validation, but it is about support and belief. So having somebody in your corner to say, I believe and I need you to believe that you already have what it takes. You told me that you reminded me, you showed me, and you said you have stacked evidence of everything you've already done. You already have proven to yourself that you can be all the things you're hoping to be. I just need you to see them. So, what I'll say to you is thank you, because in this amount of time, the amount of eye opening that I've had to being able to reflect on what I have accomplished and who I already was, let alone who I get to become,
Yeah.
is fantastic. So
Yeah.
thank you.
you're becoming. And your last voice memo to me when you were crying, which then made me cry. I'm like laying in my sauna blanket over there crying. But you said like, I just slow down, I'm present, I'm walking, I'm doing walking meditations, things that you never would have done, things that people like poo-poo. But look how much more joy you're glowing and everything's just glowing and flowing, we'll say.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. So thank you for being an amazing client. And I'm just excited to do more work with you and be on stage with you.
Same.
Watch us. Aries coming for you.
Everybody's coming for you. April Fool's babies.
Okay.
All over.
Thank you. Bye, love.
Thank you.